I wanted to briefly explain the Energy Bus session that you will facilitate the morning of August 19th. This session is meant to set the tone and begin the Energy Bus book conversation in preparation for listening to John Gordon that afternoon. So you have 3 documents. The first one is the 10 rules poster. This is to be copied and put out in the center of the tables as a reference. Not every participant needs a copy, so if you'll just copy some and then set them in the middle of the table. The second one is the positive quotes sheet. This needs to be copied and cut into strips. There are 10 quotes, so there'll be 10 strips per page. Everyone that participates will need 1 strip. So if you'll copy accordingly, and again, put those in the middle of the table so when the activity comes, everyone can select a strip. The third one has all the details for the activities during the morning session. If you look up top, there is a hashtag for WZEnergy Bus, so during your welcome and introduction, if you want to share that, they'll have opportunities during the morning session to tweet out, and you might want to incorporate over into your breakout sessions if you want to do that. There is a list of the materials again and what to do with them, so you have that information. There are 4 activities that you'll facilitate in this 50 minutes. The first one is very brief. Just a greeting of their neighbor with different attitudes so they can begin the thinking of how attitude affects people. The second one is where they're going to reflect on their reading of the Energy Bus, since they should have done that over the summer. If you can notice on the activities, there's a time right here. This is just a suggestion to kind of help with pacing. So obviously if they continue to be talking as in time is up, you can extend that, or if they're getting quiet, you might want to move on instead. And then after each session, there's a suggestion of what to have them tweet out about. The third activity is the one where they're going to use the positive quotes. So they will pick a quote and reflect on that meaning to them in their work, their classroom environment, the school culture, and then they're going to do hands up, pair up, and mingle to share their quote and the meaning to them. I suggest 6 minutes just so you're going to want them to share with several people. So as soon as they are done sharing, put their hand back up and go find someone else who needs a partner who has their hand up, and then they share and continue on. And then they'll come back and reflect at the table. Again, if there are questions, these are things just to consider. You might prompt them to help you facilitate the discussion that they're having in their group. The fourth activity is where they're going to use that poster, and they're going to select 1 rule, so they can all look at that in their little cluster and decide on the 1 rule they want to focus on. And to select that rule, you might suggest if it's something that they think is very important, if it's something they think is critical in order to have a successful year, or maybe it's something they feel might help the culture of their classroom or the school. They'll take some time to reflect on how to develop an action plan for the year. So let's say they chose rule number 1 for driver of their bus. What would that look like if they were the driver of the bus? What steps do they need to take in order to get there? So they'll reflect on that, and then they have opportunity to share that with a shoulder partner. And then at the end of that 4th activity, that concludes the Energy Bus session, and y'all can go on to explain how the format is going to be for the breakout sessions for the rest of the morning.